Welcome to episode 100 of the Cheap Heat Productions podcast. Okay, today on the show, I'm joined by two members of the Irish band Block C, Andy and Paul. How are you lads doing?
Good. How are you, Morris? Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you. Our first time meeting each other. Andy, we've met each other many a time.
Yeah, I remember your 30th very well. That was a good gig.
Yeah. Oh yes, yeah. You play. I was actually thinking about that time I was in bed and you came in playing Oasis.
That's right. Yeah. Changing the lyrics.
Yeah. We'll keep it a bit cleaner tonight anyway.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
So lads, start with you, Paul. Tell me a bit about yourself and how you know this man and your journey into music.
Yeah, so I suppose let's start with myself and Andy. So a couple of years ago, we met each other through work, really, along with everyone else in the band. So we all worked together in a major financial institution that everybody's well aware of. So it was kind of strange. I started working there and I'd never worked in a company and certainly in a team of people who everyone seemed to play an instrument, but didn't have a band. I was kind of surprised, everyone played guitar and bass and sang. And so we were talking, saying, do you guys not get together and play at all? No, not really. The odd time, but nothing major. So it's like, well, what are you short of? Well, we don't have a drummer. So it's like, all right, yeah. And then I was thinking, I'll be a drummer. I'll just start playing drums. I'll just do it. And what started off as kind of just a group of lads bashing out covers, once every couple of weeks for a couple of hours, which was a lot of fun, just kind of gained momentum and we started writing our own stuff and we kind of didn't think it sounded too bad, actually. And one thing led to another and we were putting together an EP and it's just kind of a natural kind of flow, really. But yeah, that's kind of how it all started.
Yeah, I think Paul was the first to suggest, why don't we go jamming somewhere? And Paul was walking home one night. I'll let you tell.
Yeah, that's it's true. Yeah, because myself and Andy had been talking about it. We probably should do something, and I wouldn't mind learning drums, and Andy was kind of picking up piano a good bit, and so one evening, I'm on the way home from work. Actually, I don't live too far from Sandyford Industrial Estate. So I'm kind of walking. I don't know where I was walking, but I'm off out one evening. And there's two lads walking down past the house, heavy with gear, guitars, a couple of amps, cymbals in a bag on their back. And I'm like, they're either going to a rehearsal studio or a gig, So it's like, I wonder, is there a rehearsal studio in the area? So I looked it up online. Sure enough, there's only one around the corner. And that kind of sparked it then. I was like, grand, let's get in touch with these people. And so we'll give a shout out to Feedback Rehearsal in Sandyford because they treat us very well. And that was our venue, if you like, to kind of, start playing together. So yeah, that's kind of how it came about, really.
And you, Andy, I had seen you gigging a few times before then. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so I suppose one of the first gigs I did was in the Old Mill out in Tala. I'm sure you're aware of that venue. But through a friend of a friend, I knew Ray Scully from, he was on The Voice of Ireland back in 2012, 2013. So went along to one of his shows, and we got talking, and said, "You want to do support for me sometime?" And that's how I got kind of solo gigging then. I'd been mad into guitar and singing for at least since I was 13, you know. So that was kind of the start of the stage performing then. And then obviously joined the big financial institution, as Paul mentioned, and met a bunch of like-minded people, and just went and started doing covers, and it turned out to be something a lot more than that, and we started writing our own stuff then.
Do you want to give a shout out to the other members of the band and what they do?
Yeah,
just in case they're feeling left out. I know they were kind of scared coming on here. It's a very intimidating place to be.
Yeah, I know. They're busy with our first full album. So so we have Jason Bright. He's on vocals and guitar, electric guitar. Kev is on lead guitar. He actually was our chief mixer and masterer for the first EP that we recorded in Westport. Simon Quinn, he's on vocals, as you know very well from Mama Said and Eye to Eye. Great work on those. We've got Adam Midziejewski, he's on the bass. He's from Poland. Very good musician, very talented. Yeah, and the two of us then. That's Block C.
I want to talk to you about forming a song and the way you guys form songs together. And what do you do first? Like, do you write the music? What like, do you write the music first? Do you have lyrics down and try work around them? What way does it work?
Yeah, I would say we more go for, Kev would have a riff or something, and we try and fit the lyrics around it then, and try and form a structure. Get the drum beat down with Paul. It's music first, I'd say.
Yeah,
it's been kind of strange though. Like, so that's definitely how we approach the EP, because we were kind of getting together and we were all literally in the same room when we wrote all those songs, or those 5 anyway. And then when lockdown kicked in, there was no getting together, and there was no real jamming, and there was no opportunity to kind of sit together in a room. So kind of technology seemed to take over. We relied on software and ideas recorded in WAV files on phones, and it kind of turned into a different way of writing. I found anyway, and even using software helped to sort of get the air and feel of a song together. I found if I came up with an idea, you could kind of flesh it out reasonably well before you presented it to everybody. And said, this is kind of what I'm going with. Now tear it apart, whatever way we want to change it. But that's kind of the overall structure. And I think that kind of opened up a lot of possibilities as well. If you had a song in your head, you could actually put that together reasonably well in software, rather than sitting in a room and kind of tapping along and humming out a riff or a bass line or whatever. So the album's worth, I think, writing-wise, came together different. In what Andy's saying, he's 100% right, but I think we were able to write quicker. What have we got now? 13 or 14 songs. Certainly the bones of them there now, Andy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's testament to what you're saying with the nature of, COVID restrictions and all. We had to resort to other methods of getting our songs down, and most of, this first full album we're going to hopefully release at the end of the year. We've kind of done all that with software, rather than being in a room together. And it's really, really helped. get the structures down.
It's amazing what you can do, like, with technology these days. But what I want to know before then is the where you went to record that EP and the plan around going. I think was it in Mayo you guys went? Yeah.
That's
Do you want
right.
to tell us about where you went and what that was like?
Yeah. Andy, do you want to?
Yeah, so we decided to go down in March 2020, just before the first lockdown hit. We were actually very lucky to get the opportunity. So we stayed in this lovely Airbnb just outside of the Canvey town, blink and you miss a town, just outside of Westport. And we got in there straight away, loaded up a van, drove down, set up the room, put up all the foam, to get the good acoustics going. Kev did his thing, set all the gear up, all his monitors and recording equipment. And it was a full on kind of 5 days there. Just we started with the drums first, which is, takes a lot of time.
That's the hardest part. But while you were there, shit hit the fan in the world as well, which is kind of mad.
Yeah. It's very, very fucking weird experience, to be honest. So you kind of go down and everybody's aware of the news. And, everyone can remember back to then where you're listening to news, but you're thinking, it won't be that bad. We'll get a handle on this before it gets too bad. And sure, we were down there for about the guts of a week. And then I was getting the train back the day before the lads. And I went into the train station in Westport and everything was striped and blocked off, no public jackses, everything's yellow laned for going everywhere. It was like we'd walking into, I don't know, 28 days later or something. It was very strange. But to be honest, I think going down to Westport, being in the house gave us a certain amount of freedom. I mean, the pressure was on us in that the book stopped with us. We had all the equipment to record everything. We had all the instruments. We had all the space and time to do it. But there was no turning to an engineer or to some manager of a studio if something went wrong. The book stopped with us. But in saying that, we didn't have the rigor of having to work in a studio and think, well, we're only paying for 8 hours a day and we really need to milk that. We could stretch that out a little longer and work within our own terms. So, I think it was a good way of doing it. Considering, I think any of us who've been in studios with bands before know that kind of red light pressure that you're under as soon as you know the recording button's on, you're like, bollocks. But if you have all of that kind of set out in advance and it's just a group of friends recording, really, there was an element of pressure, but an element of relaxation to it too. It's good. Yeah, it's a good way to do it.
We had a breakout room upstairs with a pool table and TV, had the PlayStation set up if you just needed to take a breather from the recording area, But even as you were saying, like we'd be sitting down for dinner in the evening and it was quite dull and rainy for the most of the 5 days we were there. And, with hearing everything on the news, it was like Armageddon was coming in, and we're here recording, 5 songs for our first EP. It was incredible.
It was meant to be the way it happened, I think, anyway. And in terms of the quality of it, like, Kevin and you lads done an amazing job. Like, it sounds picture perfect, like, really. It's amazing what you can do by yourselves if you have the right gear and the right people these days.
Do you know, honestly, like, full credit to Kev. Kev, after all of that was recorded down, really jumped into sound engineer / producer with the whole mixing end of that. It wouldn't sound as good without the attention to detail he put into it. It really is a skill and a talent he kind of developed. not taken away from our all. I mean, we all put in immaculate performances, absolutely. But from Kev's perspective, he definitely polished it off. He's very good at it. Yeah.
And shout out to Simon as well, because he kind of took over the reins of the recording when Kev was feeling a bit tired, So that was a big help for him as well.
Yeah.
It's going to happen when you have those long days. Like, what was the reaction like on release from family and friends? Firstly,
good. Like, I mean, you're going to get all your family and friends just bigging you up. But you're always acutely aware of people just giving you a charity clap on the back, but genuinely people seem to like it. And I've even had friends of friends come up and say, I heard your music, that's really good. I'm listened to it a couple of times on Spotify, and, well done, it's good. And it's those people who are a little bit more removed that you get the compliments from, that you're like, sound, okay, great. It's kind of traveling. So yeah, it's been positive so far, But same for you, Andy, I think.
Oh yeah, like everyone they were all amazed when they heard it, Yeah, they keep asking, when he is doing a launch night for the EP. Obviously we can't at the moment with restrictions, but we're definitely planning on still doing that at some point in the future,
That's one thing I've been trying to pressure Mr. Kevin Mullally into, because me being a promoter and I know a lot of venues and a lot of people, it's like, we need to get some live shows going, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Is that something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, like it's the next logical step really to kind of promote it properly. And Ireland being the way it is, it kind of thrives on live music a lot. And it's an institution in its own right. So I think the last 18 months, I find myself being in a band and also going to gigs. It's like a dam waiting to burst, to be honest. I think the live music's end of things is going to thrive when everything's back on the cards again. So it'd be great to be part of that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's the one thing I'm looking forward to coming back more than anything.
100%.
Really, really missed. Yeah, we've gotten a lot of kind of radio play recently on Hard Rock Hell Radio. They're based outside of London, and the DJ, shout out to Ian Crawford for giving us all the support. He's played the full EP over the past couple of months, and he messaged me a couple of weeks ago. He's putting us forward for the Hard Rock Hell festivals, so they have to do that kind of couple of times a year. Any new bands coming down the scene, they're put forward to play live gigs. So if we got UK gigs, that would be awesome for us,
Well, to be honest with you, Andy, I think that's probably the only place you're going to be able to play if you're planning on playing this year.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it?
Because I just came back from Belfast at the weekend, and it's like a completely different world to here. I went up, there's musicians playing. I went to a wrestling show inside with 300 people. It's crazy, but hopefully, because I don't want to go into COVID and that bullshit tonight, but hopefully we start kind of sorting it out down here, because music needs to come back. We need music. This country thrives on music, as you said, Paul.
It does, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
There's so many new bands out there from Ireland, at the moment.
And there's even old bands with new material. I think everyone's been writing at this time as well. So if the restrictions are lifted correctly, we should have a burst of music, really.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, there's even that. I think the bands that I feel sorry for most are the ones that are relying, those sort of starting up or mid career bands that are relying on touring in order to make ends meet, and have even temporarily had to close the doors on that and get regular jobs as a result of this. And some of those bands I want to see live. There's so many good artists out there at the moment. So hopefully things will change for those smaller bands. The likes of Aerosmith and AC/DC aren't going to get hit too hard with this stuff in the long the grand scheme of things, but it's the smaller bands, you know. So hopefully things will come back quickly, and we'll start to see those guys get back on the road again, you know.
And the wedding bands too. That's a big one over here.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you know.
Andy, talk to me about shower curtains and chef's outfits and gear bags and all that other kind of stuff that came out there last week.
Yeah, look, we were talking about it for months, you know, setting up merchandise. So we finally did it. May have gone a bit overboard on the items, but you know, we'll see what happens with it. You know, I think the clock looks very well.
Yeah,
I think your favorite.
Cloxy. Yeah, no, oh yeah, it's a good old pun there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Roxy out with your Cloxy out.
And I'm going to put the link in the description of this video of that stuff. But
brilliant!
We'll talk about the new album that you kind of touched on there earlier, and where it's at now, and what's the plan. When is it going to be recorded?
So yeah, like this is the $1 million question. So at the moment, feedback, our rehearsal place is back open for business. So we need to get back in and start. We have the guts of most of the songs together in a live setting. We can play them together as a band. So an awful lot of the material has been demoed and sounds pretty good. I'm not going to shortchange it. It sounds very good. I'm very, very happy with how it's turned out. This time around, there's a lot more of everybody's personality has gone into it. And everybody, I feel anyway, has kind of pushed their own flavor and their own preferences in writing style into the music. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily gone heavier. We've a couple of metal fans in the band. I wouldn't say it's necessarily heavier, but certainly in song structures, we haven't been afraid to complicate things and make things a bit more intricate. You know, not just for the sake of it, but also just to test ourselves as songwriters and musicians. So yeah, like, as I say, there's 13, 14 songs and a couple more in demo stage. Over the coming months, we'll probably break those up into sections and record 2 or 3 at a go and you know, mix and master them. But hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have something to show for it, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely found our sound with this new album. We can't wait to record it and release it to the world.
And when you do release it, you'll be right back on here promoting it.
Excellent. Look forward to it. Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on tonight.
Brilliant. Thanks, Morris.
Brilliant. Thanks, Morris.
Thanks, guys.
Great opportunity.
All the best.
All right. Take care. Thanks very much.
See you later.
Bye.